Manchester United make approach for Benjamin Sesko. Erik Ten Hag decision imminent. And what is going to happen to Bruno Fernandes? These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Let's try and see 200 likes on today's show. Make sure you smash a like. And if this is your first time watching the channel, please do subscribe as well. We are live every single day in the morning, in the evening, and if anything breaks during the day, I do go live as well. So if you want to keep up to date with all of the latest Manchester United transfer news and talk, please do subscribe to Daily Red Devil and get involved in this amazing community we have built together. Right, let's get on with the show. So much to get into on tonight's show, this morning's show, sorry. My brain's gone a little bit. Let's start the show off by talking about Bruno Fernandes. Unbelievable performance from Bruno last night. Was playing in a friendly for Portugal, got 2 goals. One of them was absolutely beautiful. Unbelievable player. I've said this for a long time. Bruno Fernandes is by far our best player. But the topic that we're going to be talking about this morning is this new contract for Bruno Fernandes. So for anybody who missed last night's show, the headline last night from reputable journalists is that apparently Bruno Fernandes has asked for a new contract. He wants to be the highest earner at the club. So our current highest earners are Casemiro on 340k a week and Rashford on around 300k a week. So Bruno Fernandes wants to be in and around the 340, 350k a week mark. Now, my opinion on this is Bruno Fernandes deserves that amount of money, but I don't think that's the sensible option because we stupidly gave Marcus Rashford this bumper new contract last season after he had, I think he scored 30 goals in a season, and then we gave him 300 grand a week plus. Casemiro is likely to leave, so that will be gone. Varane's obviously gone. Martial's gone. So at the moment, 3 of our highest earners have left the club or will be leaving the club. Varane's gone, Martial's gone. Casemiro will be going to Saudi most likely. So at the moment, the only player who will be left on 300k a week or more would be Marcus Rashford. And all of the rest of them are kind of on somewhere between 50 to 250, which is about normal. You know, if you go and look at Arsenal's squad, Arsenal's highest earners are on about 250. I think Saka's on about 200. Martinelli's on under 200. And we need to kind of get our wage budget in and around 250. And I think that if we were to give Bruno Fernandes, 350k a week, what does that say about Ineos? What does that say about a new beginning that we're being described as having? Does that make sense? Like, I feel like we need to draw a line in the sand here. I know Bruno Fernandes is our best player. He definitely deserves to earn more than Marcus Rashford, but that doesn't mean that Man United should pay it. The thing you have to remember as well here is, right, Bruno Fernandes has got 2 years left of his current deal with the option of a 3rd year as well. So he's technically got 3 years left of his current contract. And by the time that contract expires, he'll be 33, which realistically, some players, are still world class at that age. But I imagine by that point, Man United will probably be looking to move him on anyway. So, if you were to give him a new, 5-year contract, say, he'd be 35 at Manchester United earning 350k a week. So it's a really difficult one because I do feel like this is a crossroads for Manchester United. We're at this point where we can either go straight on, we can go left, or we can go right. Whatever decision we make now is going to heavily impact the future. It's going to heavily impact the success, the mentality of this football club. And a prime example of this is, obviously, Manchester United wanted to sign Tosin, the centre-back, who is at Fulham. He is now going to Chelsea. That's been confirmed. And obviously, the Man United fan base were devastated. They said, this guy's free agent, 26 years of age, with Premier League experience, and we missed out on him. Why has that happened? And everyone's really upset about it. But the truth of the matter with the Tosin situation is that apparently Chelsea were willing to offer him £140,000 a week wages, and Man United weren't willing to match that. The Glazers would have matched that. If this was the old regime, the Glazers would have said, no problem, we'll give you 150, we'll give you 200 grand. Tell us what you want and we'll give it to you. We gave Anthony 200 grand a week. He was on 20 grand a week at Ajax. The same with Donny van de Beek when he moved from Ajax. He was on about 20k a week. We gave him over 150k a week. Jadon Sancho at Dortmund was on about 100 and we gave him 200. We've been renowned over the years of giving out stupid contracts. And the recent Marcus Rashford one was a prime example of that. He has his best season ever and then we give him a stupid contract. And I think that Ineos actually have to be really careful here because, if Bruno Fernandes gets this new contract for 5 years on 350k a week and it doesn't work out, and then another player comes in, say we go and sign Benjamin Sesko, let's say, just as an example, because we're going to talk about him in a minute. Say Benjamin Sesko joins Man United and he has a really good first season, he scores 30 goals. He's going to say, I want 350k a week. And that's the problem that you have if you don't draw a line in the sand. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Bruno Fernandes. We've got a super chat coming in here from Alex. Thank you for your support, mate. Alex says, think how much it would cost to replace Bruno, the fee and contract, compared to the cost of 3 years plus 1 year contract at 300k per week. Build around him. We need to sort the squad out. Thank you for your support, Alex. And thank you for joining the members club yesterday. I do agree with you, right? But I think we have to be careful, though. This is my worry. That if we give Bruno this big deal, right, we're trying to get rid of the high earners. Okay, let's just simplify this. Let's take it back to basics. We're trying to get rid of the high earners. We've got rid of Varane, who was on 350k a week. We've got rid of Anthony Martial, who was on 250k a week. Casemiro is going to be sold. He's on 350k a week. So we're getting rid of 3 players there who are all earning ridiculous amounts of money. The only player left at Man United who will be earning ridiculous amounts of money is Marcus Rashford. And that's a fact. I know obviously 250k to me or you is a ridiculous amount of money, but when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, right? You can't be playing Manchester United players 350k a week to be playing in the Europa League. I'm sorry. You can't be paying Manchester United players 350k a week to finish 8th in the Premier League. Like that just can't happen. So I agree. Bruno Fernandes deserves to have this contract. He deserves the money. He deserves 350k a week, but he only deserves that because the natural comparison is to look at Rashford and say, Marcus Rashford has had an absolute stinker of a season and he's earning more than me. Marcus Rashford walks around the pitch like he's not bothered and he earns more than me. Marcus Rashford goes out and gets drunk before training and then doesn't show up and he earns more than me. Marcus Rashford calls out the fans on Twitter and he earns more than me, etc., 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 right? So the argument is easy. If I'm Bruno Fernandes and his agent, I'm looking at this situation and I'm saying, I get better stats. I'm the captain. I give 150%. I'm never injured, etc., etc., etc. Why am I earning less than him? So it's really, really difficult. And I think I said it on the show last night that I genuinely would be willing to sacrifice Marcus Rashford, i.e. to sell him, if it meant that we could get our wages in order. If it meant that like our highest earning player was Bruno Fernandes on 250k a week. Like we need to create a line in the sand. We are going in the right direction on this wage front. As I said, Varane's gone, Martial's gone, and Casemiro will be gone. So the only player left earning what I would say is too much money is Marcus Rashford. All of the others will be, after that, right? Mason Mount and Bruno are on 250k a week. Those are the highest earners. And then everyone below that is kind of like, they're still earning a lot of money, but it's not crazy amounts of money. So that's what I would do anyway. But I said this on the show last night that we need to make sacrifices. And I think that in any form of life, to get to where you want to be, so in relation to Manchester United, to get us back to winning trophies, to get us back to winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, to get us back to the top, we're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to make tough decisions. And if sacrificing players like Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes enables us to sort out our wage structure, enables us to stop being used by players. I'm not saying Bruno Fernandes uses us. Bruno Fernandes earns every single penny he is paid, just to be clear. But over the years, if you look at all the players that have come to Manchester United, specifically for big contracts, Di Maria, who else have we got? Alexis Sanchez. Like, the list goes on and on and on and on. But Ineos really, really need to draw the line in the sand and say, enough is enough. This is a new Manchester United. You come to Manchester United because we're the biggest and best club in the world. You come to Manchester United because you want to play football for Manchester United. You're not coming to Manchester United purely because we're going to pay you more than anyone else will. That's what needs to happen. And I think the same applies for Bruno Fernandes, to be honest. He's earning 250k a week. That's still a hell of a lot of money. That's it's about 12.5 million a season. It's not like he's having to go to a food bank to survive. He's still earning eye-watering amounts of money, more than me or you will earn in our lifetime. And that's where Ineos need to draw the line. And I actually think, to be honest with you, right, I think Ineos will draw the line from what I'm hearing. And I think that this Tosin signing that fell through is a prime example of that. Ineos weren't willing to give him 140k a week, and Chelsea were, so we didn't sign him. So it's not like Tosin rejected us. We effectively rejected him because we weren't willing to pay what he wanted. And that makes sense because, I'm looking through the wages now. Martinez is on 120k a week. So Tosin wanted to be paid more than Martinez. I mean, he's having a laugh, isn't he? Absolutely having a laugh. But again, there's other players in the centre-back department. Harry Maguire, as an example, on 190k a week. Another example of where we overpaid on wages. But let me know what you guys think. I've spent a little bit longer than I was expecting on that segment of the show. Everyone who's just joined the chat, please do me a favour and give the video a thumbs up. It really, really helps to bring more people into the channel. So if everyone could go and give the video a thumbs up right now, that would be massively appreciated. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel as well. We're very, very close to 23,000 subscribers. So it would be a massive achievement if we could hit that, say, by the end of the week. So yeah, please do go and subscribe if you haven't already. And please do smash a like on today's video if you haven't done that either. Okay, let's move over to Benjamin Sesko then. Because there is more and more stories coming out about Sesko. I'm going to say this from the off, right? I would love to see Benjamin Sesko at Manchester United. I think he's a quality player. I think he's proved himself in the Bundesliga. 21 years of age. I honestly think he could be absolutely amazing for us. I genuinely believe that. I think he's a quality centre forward. So the headline this morning, coming from Fabrizio Romano, is that apparently Manchester United have submitted their project to Benjamin Sesko. Sesko now has to decide if he wants to leave Red Bull Leipzig because they have offered him a new contract as well. So Man United, there are other clubs in the race though, just to give you the full picture. Chelsea and Arsenal have apparently also submitted offers. So there are 3 clubs who are leading the race for Benjamin Sesko. Man United, Chelsea and Arsenal. He has a release clause of £56 million. And I want you guys to let me know in the comment section. Would you like to see Benjamin Sesko come to Manchester United? It will cost £56 million in transfer fees. For me, it's a 100% yes. I think we have to do this deal. We are desperate for another striker. Guirassy was an interesting option, but he's going to Dortmund, so we're not going to get Guirassy. Apparently, he's going to go to Dortmund. Ivan Toney. I think Ivan Toney is a good option, but he's going to cost you £60-70 million. And at the age of 28, I would much rather get Benjamin Sesko, who is just turned 21, than get Ivan Toney, who probably is only going to be available for the next kind of 3 or 4 years. So just to be very, very clear, in relation to the bid, Manchester United, Chelsea and Arsenal have all told Red Bull Leipzig that they are willing to trigger his release clause, which is £56 million. So there's no issue around the fee here. It's effectively up to Benjamin Sesko to decide which of those 3 clubs he wants to go to. So obviously Arsenal's Champions League football, Man United's Europa, and Conference League is Chelsea, isn't it? Again, this could all boil down to wages though. Chelsea are renowned for giving out stupid wages. Chelsea could say to him, we'll give you 400k a week. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Todd Bowley has made some absolutely appalling decisions since he's come in as the part owner of Chelsea. I mean, for example, look at this, right? Raheem Sterling earns 325k a week at Chelsea. I mean, that's absolutely mental, isn't it? So Chelsea could easily come to Benjamin Sesko and say, oh, we'll give you 300k a week. I don't think Arsenal would do that, to be honest. I think Arsenal are a little bit more careful on the wages and they've got it a little bit more under control. But I honestly think that it will be who's going to offer him the most money. I know Champions League football will be appealing. He'll also have to look at, how many other players there are in that position. I think going to Manchester United, you're pretty much guaranteed to start 50% of the games at a minimum. Whereas if you go to Arsenal, they've obviously got Kai Havertz, who plays as a striker. They've got Gabriel Jesus, who plays as a striker. They've got Nketiah. They've got 3 or 4 striker options, whereas Man United only have Højlund, and that's it. Like, no one else. I know Rashford played as a striker a couple of times, but he's not a striker. Whereas if you compare it to Chelsea are in a kind of similar situation to us, aren't they? Where they have, they have a few forward players. They've got obviously Nicholas Jackson. They've got Nkunku. They've got, and that's kind of it though. So yeah, obviously they've got Romelu Lukaku, but he's never going to play for Chelsea again. So it's a difficult one, and there's a real battle going on now between these 3 clubs. I I think Sesko has to come in. He does, but effectively it's up to him. You know, he's got 3 strong clubs there, all of which want him, all of which are willing to trigger the release clause. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section about Benjamin Sesko. For me, it's a definite yes. Quickly on Guirassy, because I can see Alex is asking about Guirassy. So anybody who's unaware, obviously Man United were very, very interested in Guirassy in the January transfer window. We, for whatever stupid reason, didn't sign him. I don't know why. But yeah, apparently Dortmund are going to trigger the release clause and Dortmund are going to sign Guirassy. So I don't think Manchester United will end up getting him now. Like, it seems very, very unlikely. Fabrizio Romano reported 2 days ago that Borussia Dortmund are now pushing ahead to sign Guirassy. It says Dortmund insists there are several clubs keen on triggering his release clause. Blah 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 blah. So you never know. We might come in at the last minute, because the thing with Guirassy, it's similar to Sesko. He has a release clause, right? So it's not really up to Stuttgart who they sell him to. It's up to the player. The player will effectively decide which club he wants to go to, which always makes it interesting. But I'm just reading here, apparently Bayern Munich are interested as well. So, and Atletico Madrid. His release clause is only £15 million, remember. So it's a very, very good deal to do if we can do it. CBK says, I hope we get Sesko. What else we got? Somebody else says, is there any options other than Sesko? I mean, the other options you're looking at are like Xerxes. Guirassy's obviously another option. There are options out there, but from what I'm hearing, Benjamin Sesko is the number 1 option for Man United. But there's going to be really, really tough competition to get his signature. Right. Let's quickly move on to Erik ten Hag then. There are some murmurs coming out today that apparently a decision is imminent. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, it doesn't look very good for Erik ten Hag, but I don't want to... That's just from what I've heard, okay? This hasn't been reported yet in the wider media, but from what I've heard from a couple of people, apparently it's not looking particularly good for Erik ten Hag, and that he probably will be going, but don't take my word for that. That's just stuff I've heard from other people on the grapevine, and it hasn't obviously been made public yet. But if I'm going to give my opinion on it, we won a major trophy, the FA Cup, over 10 days ago, and we've heard nothing. I mean, that the silence kind of says it all for me. If they wanted to back him, they would have come out straight after that game and I think backed him. They haven't done that. Fabrizio Romano reported yesterday that they're interviewing other managers at the moment. 10 days after winning a major trophy, why would you still be interviewing other managers if you thought you were going to keep your current one? Like, it kind of seems obvious to me. And the story that I was told, again, this hasn't been made public yet, is that apparently they're waiting for him to come back from holiday. I'm not sure when he's back from holiday, but he's on holiday at the moment. They're going to wait for him to come back and then make a decision. But from what I'm hearing, it looks like they're more likely going to part ways with Erik ten Hag and bring in a new manager, which I think is the wrong decision. But obviously, I'm not going to get worked up about that again now. I'm going to wait until it's made official and then we can talk about it as a community. But I think, most of these fan bases that I've seen are very much in favour of Erik ten Hag staying. So it's going to be a very unpopular decision if Ineos decide to let him go. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But hopefully it should be today or tomorrow that we start getting definitive answers, because that's apparently when he's back from his holiday or, in the next couple of days. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Final story to bring you is about Jadon Sancho. And it's not particularly good news. This is coming out from Sport Bild in Germany, and they're reporting that apparently Borussia Dortmund are not going to sign Jadon Sancho as a permanent transfer because they think he is too expensive. It says that Dortmund are only interested in another loan move. I mean, this is absolutely embarrassing, I'm sorry. They sold Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid for 100 million last year. They sold us Jadon Sancho for 75 million, a couple of years ago. And they're telling us that they don't have the money to buy him back for 40, 50 million. It's complete rubbish. And I was thinking about this morning. I honestly, I know this is probably me being bitter and spiteful, but I don't really care. If they're not going to buy him and they want us to pay his wages, which is what we did this season, Remember, Man United are paying about half of Jadon Sancho's wages at the moment for him to go and play for Dortmund. If Borussia Dortmund aren't willing to sign him on a permanent and want to loan him and us to pay his wages again, I would just bring him back to United and let him train with the under-21s until he comes out and apologises. And whether that's to Erik ten Hag or not, I don't really care, but he needs to apologise to the fan base. You know? When you have multiple different managers at multiple different clubs, England, Man City, Dortmund and Manchester United, all coming out saying that he's got a bad attitude and that he's not got a good mentality, and then all of the stuff that unfolds, and then effectively to refuse to apologise, like, I would bring him back and say either you apologise to everybody, you know, you do some sort of interview on the TV and you apologise for letting the fans down, letting your teammates down, or you just go and train with the under-21s. I wouldn't let him be loaned out again. Because I feel like, again, that's similar to the situation I spoke about earlier, where if Ineos really want to stamp their foot in the ground and show people that they mean business and that they're not going to be messed around, they would say, you know what, Dortmund? Where's the 100 million you got from Jude Bellingham? Where has the 100 million you got from Jude Bellingham gone? Tell us. Oh, well, you don't have it anymore. Oh, you want him on loan again? You want us to pay the wages? Okay, we'll just take him back then. Like, who do they think we are? Yeah. But that's what I would do anyway. I know that's a little bit spiteful, but yeah, it is what it is. Kevin says, I agree with you, mate. Shove him in the reserves until he gets pissed off. Yeah, I would. I don't even care anymore. Like, if we're going to have to pay half of his wages for him to go and play at Dortmund, we may as well just keep him in the reserves, and then he can just be like an example, you know, for future players, that you can't just come here and mess around and not give 150%. Like, Alex says, Sancho, Haaland, Bellingham, where did all the money go? Exactly, mate. It's complete rubbish. It's because they know that historically Man United have been a laughingstock in the transfer market. They think that Manchester United have no option and that Manchester United will do whatever Dortmund say, but we shouldn't. Yeah, everybody in the chat's like, where did all the money go from all these players they've sold? Mate, exactly. It's complete crap. Absolute crap. And they're just trying to milk it. They're trying to get us to pay his wages whilst he can stay on loan there. It makes zero sense. Put it this way, right? If nobody wants to buy him after he's just got to a Champions League final, he had that performance against PSG where people said he was world class. I didn't think he was personally, but some people did. And we still can't sell him. Then how do we expect to sell him in a year's time? Like, we're not going to be able to, are we? So, yeah, that's my take on it anyway. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will be back at 6 o'clock for the evening show. If anything breaks during the day, I will go live. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you smash a like on the video before you go. Thank you to everyone who's joined me on the show this morning. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a great day, and I'll